Have a lot of questions. Emergency crews shut down Highway 51 at Highway 10.
We have live team coverage tonight. Parker Boyd and Andres Fuentes are both on the scene. We begin with Parker.
Well, guys, I'm at the Florida Parishes Arena right now. This is where the media is being stationed during this event. And we've been monitoring this fire for a few hours now. I'm looking up and I'm seeing the plume of smoke, get thicker and thicker. You can see. I'm gonna have my photographer Edwin Good show you. It's the plume of smoke is getting really thick right now. You can see it rising into the sky. This has been going on for a few hours now, and there is an evacuation going on within the 1 mile radius around this fire. Now, the Tangipahoa Parish Jail, I'm told by the sheriff's office, is not being evacuated because the jail is beyond that 1 mile radius. So the jail is not being evacuated, but residents have been evacuated out of this area. Again, this is a very intense situation. The plume of smoke is getting very, very high. I was on my way here a few hours ago. When I first saw it, I thought it was a storm cloud. I mean, because it was dark, it was big. I thought it was a storm cloud. I was about 6 miles out and you could see it. It was that big. So really an intense situation here. Now, we heard from the parish president earlier. He said that there was no injuries that came from this event, so that's good news that comes out of this. There were no injuries. He did say that the timeline on when the fire could be put under control is still unknown, but he says that firefighters are out there doing the best that they can to get the scene under control. He says that if you do not need to be in this area, if you don't need to be in this area, do not come in this area. And this is not a time to be sightseeing. This is a time to evacuate and be safe, because this is an intense situation. The cause of the fire is still unknown. That's according to the parish president. But he says it's important to be safe and stay away from this area if you do not need to be here. And that's the story here in Tangipahoa Parish. I'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks very much for that, Parker. In the meantime, Andres Fuentes is also on scene. Let's go to Andres.
And John, look, we've been live here outside of the Amit Community Center for about 15 minutes or so. We've seen at least one bus come on down, drop about a dozen or so people here at the center. That's because in that 1 mile radius, as we know, there's around 250 or so homes, around 477 or so people. But before we talk about more about the center, I just want to really show the big plume of smoke. Again, we're maybe 6 miles or so from where Parker is, maybe a 10-minute drive from the actual plane. You could see just how massive this thing is and really how far spread it goes. And like Parker was saying, we were on I-55 coming up north, and I was asking Dylan, my photographer, is that the storm cloud or is that the actual plant? No, that is the actual plant on fire, and just how big it is. Again, all the way here at the Amit Community Center, where there are sending a lot of those families and people that lived and worked in the area here for evacuation. The good news is no one hurt in this explosion, in this fire, per officials, but we do know that there might be concerns, especially for some of the older people, whether or not some of the stuff that is burning could impact their health. We have yet to really get a solid answer as to exactly what is burning there at the plant. We know it's lubricants and other oils that they do manufacture there, but in the meantime, they say if you need some place to stay, especially since this thing might be wrapping up into the evenings or early mornings, or it might be several days, they are saying that this is a safe haven for you right here in Amit, just off the highway. You can't miss it. A lot of people here in the community are also familiar. I remember doing a tornado here, and a lot of people were kind of stationed here as first responders and whatnot. So if you live in the area in Tangipahoa, especially in Amit, you're very familiar with this area here. As far as the plume of smoke, very intimidating to look at. This is exactly what you see you coming up I-55 north, and this is the first thing you really see. It really catches your eye. We've been seeing a lot of people here on this main artery kind of stopping and peering, taking photos, and causing some traffic jams. So just keep that in mind. While that 1 mile evacuation radius is closed off for general public, some of those other highways and roadways, some of the typical ones that you take, might be blocked, or heavy traffic as well, at least, with people trying to get out and about. Either trying to evacuate from those areas and stay safe, or just trying to take some photos, something that you really don't want to be doing right now. Just get to your destination, hunker down, and wait for more information as far as what this plume of smoke and the rest of the plant fire really is going to be impacting this community. But for the most part, just seeing some of the neighbors and hearing some of the concerns, the general consensus here, at least by the community center, is, that's over there, right? And we're right here. So hopefully there won't be too many things to be concerned about. But there are some concerns. This is what you see when you walk out of your front door, you peer through your window, you kind of want this to be wrapped up sometime soon. We do know that the firefighters, they are boots on the ground. A lot of them do have experience putting out chemical fires, working some of the refineries there along the river. So they are very well equipped and have that knowledge to deal with a situation like this. It's just a matter of when this might be under control, when we can kind of evaluate what was damaged, and then when we can evaluate how that impacts the environment and the surrounding of Tangipahoa Parish. But I'll show you one more time, get a nice real close look and a pan as we're seeing. And look, we've been here for maybe 30 minutes now, and we have not seen the smoke die down at all. I know we've sent our Parker Boyd out here. He as well reporting the same thing. The smoke has not died down. If anything, it's gotten kind of bigger. So that's something that we are monitoring and keeping a close eye of. But again, there is that 1 mile radius. Initial call came around 1 o'clock this afternoon. That evacuation zone came around 15 or 30 minutes or so after that. And Tangipahoa really made sure that people in that evacuation radius knew exactly where to go and that they needed to just leave altogether because of the concerns surrounding this Smitty's plant fire here that happened just afternoon today. But for now, we're putting live here in a meet. Andres Fuentes, Fox 8, Local First.
Hey, Andres, you sort of addressed this, but the cloud appears a bit different than in some of the other video. That can be the camera settings. Is it still as dark as we saw in some of that other phone video that was shot earlier?
I want to say that the color has gotten lighter, and I've told Dylan multiple times to stay on this one shot right here just because I'm starting to see some white. I don't know if that's maybe because we're finally getting a lull in the rain, but yeah, as my photographer, why don't you point a little bit, as Dylan's pointing out, there is some white in the clouds, if you could kind of make that out, John. So it is getting bigger. That is for sure what I can say from what I've seen for the past 30 or 45 minutes. But we have seen some white. Again, we're maybe 10-minute drive away, 6 miles out. If we had a better vantage point, especially boots on the ground, we could kind of better determine if we're seeing some of that white smoke, which means that the firefighters are having a better job trying to are progressing and taking controlling this fire. But it gets really, really thick. And then as it comes up and the sky column, it gets wider and wider. So again, I'm not an expert on chemical fires and whatnot, but I do know that we are anticipating and really waiting for and hoping for that white smoke. It's getting bigger, but it's kind of diluting in color a bit as we're seeing another plume of smoke rising up from the plant right there. So that's kind of what we're seeing here, John, again, around 6 miles or so out from the actual fire.
All right, Andres, thank you for that report. This all broke out just